Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. It is the Shabbos Hagadol. Shabbos Hagadol is the great Shabbat. It is the Shabbat that precedes Passover. And we have a tradition, the Jewish people have a tradition, that the rabbi gives a long speech on Shabbos Hagadol. And I'm not going to do that for you. I'm going to give a short speech, which hopefully is more beneficial to you. One of the most famous American investors is a man named Sir John Templeton, and Sir John Templeton became a stockbroker in 1937, which was in the highlight of the Great Depression. And in the very end of the 30s or the very beginning of the 40s, when the entire world was upside down, he basically took all of his money and he invested $100 in every stock that was $1 or less. And you can imagine where this went, that after the war and the economy got back on track. So he now was sitting on a multi-billion dollar fortune because of his ability, because he said, when everyone saw the world was going upside down, I saw it was the greatest opportunity. What in the heck does that have to do with Passover? And what does that have to do with Shabbos Hagadol and coronavirus? So everything. The interesting thing is the holiday of Passover was celebrated by the Jews. They would have to live in their homes, right? Famously, we know that a few days before Passover, the Jews would have to take the carbon pesach, the sheep. They brought it into their home, and you'd have to do it just kind of you and your family, right? And we had this experience of quarantining ourselves, but doing something together as a Jewish nation. And the other major theme of Pesach is that when things seem like there's no hope, we start off this idea that our fathers were idol worshippers, and the Jews started in slavery, and all those kinds of crazy ideas. That out of the ashes, out of the cataclysmic situations, God builds the future. So the idea of Pesach is that out of difficulty comes the future. Now, interestingly enough, what does that have to do with Sir John Templeton? So it's interesting because a lot of times people want to work on the idea of faith. I want to be a person that has more faith. I want to be a person that sees God in my life more. I want to be a person that is able to give over, and be a person that leans on God. And most of our lives, thank God, most of us live in relative comfort where, hopefully most of our bills are close to being paid, and hopefully most of our relationships are going okay, and that we have our health, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's hard, right, when we live have a blessed world, so to speak, to be close to God. On the flip side, when things are unknown and things are difficult, we didn't know and we don't know where things are going, and things are difficult for us. So there you have an opportunity to kind of throw it's easier for you to say, hey, God, I don't know how this is going to work out, so I really got to have faith and trust in you, right? And again, we think this is not like I'm sitting there and I'm doing it easy. Like, no, it's when you're miserable and when it's very hard for you, and you have everything's going against you, and there's a lot of uncertainty in the world, and there's uncertainty for your friends and your family and your nation, whatever it might be, right? So at those moments where things seem bad, it's easier. It's much easier, right? It's cheaper, so to speak. The stock of Emunah, the stock of faith in God is cheap right now. And it's easy for us to do because we have no other options. And that counts. So the idea is invest now and think a little bit more if you possibly can. You look at the challenges that surround your life. Your kids are screaming at you. You're trying to work and your kids are crying. Maybe this is just me, right? But bottom line is, when there's challenge, when there's uncertainty, so then you can lean on God, and it's much easier than to do it when things are going great. So that's our option. That's our tremendous opportunity. And I want to wish everyone a wonderful Shabbat. I want to wish everyone a wonderful Pesach, and that we take this opportunity to go back to again, we probably have never had this opportunity in all of world history, to go back to the times of the original Pesach, where we were sequestered alone with our families, quarantined, doing something as a nation, thinking about our people together, and having faith in the fact that no matter, again, think about the original Jews. Right after Pesach, they went into the desert for 40 years, right? So that's where we're going. And so we're going into a place of unbelievable connection, opportunity, and faith, which by definition needs there to be a challenging situation around us. So that's where we're living. I want to wish everyone a happy Pesach, happy Shabbos, and thank you so much.